Hey guys, I'm back to read a little bit more today of The Wild Robot Escapes. We are on chapter 70, The March Through the City. We left off yesterday where, that's right, Brightbill and Roz were separated. Roz made it onto the train, Brightbill did not, and so she's hoping that they will meet up again now that the train has stopped. All right, chapter 70, The March Through the City. The main hall of City Center Station was enormous. Wide columns stretched up to an arched ceiling. A huge electronic screen flickered with train schedules. The whole place was bustling with humans and robots, and everyone seemed to know exactly where they were going. Everyone except Roz. There was our robot, standing still in the station while commuters hurried past. She was trying to calculate her next move, and she had to think quickly. You see, a normal robot would never loiter there for long. Roz needed to do something, anything, and when a crew of Rosin robots marched past in single file, she could think of no better plan than to join the end of the line and just pretend to be one of them. She followed the crew through a set of doors, and suddenly they were outside. The city was a blur of activity. Automobiles hummed down the streets. Robots marched along the sidewalks. Humans talked and laughed and shouted. Buildings towered overhead and above them. Airships buzzed across the sky. Airships. For a moment, Roz was dreaming again about how easily she could get home with an airship, but reality came crashing back when a white triangular ship darted over. Here's a picture of the tall buildings. It was gone in an instant, disappearing behind the rooftops. But that was all it took for the robot's survival instincts to flare. Were the Ricos searching for Roz or going about some other business? Roz tried to focus on her immediate surroundings. She was still marching behind that crew of robots. With each step, she grew more nervous that they'd notice her tagging along. She wanted to break away. As soon as they started weaving and shuffling through a crowd of tourists, Roz slowed and stopped, and the robot crew continued on without her. Now Roz was on her own, but she didn't know what to do or where to go. When in doubt, Brightbill had always guided her north, so our robot set off through the city in that direction. While marching northward, Roz passed beautiful boulevards and architecture and gardens and art, and yet she had to ignore it all. She had to act like a normal robot, and a normal robot would never wander the city admiring beautiful things. Wherever Roz looked, she saw normal robots concentrating on their tasks and on nothing else. They ran errands, delivered food, swept sidewalks, cleaned windows, fixed machines, built glorious structures, and did more jobs than you can possibly imagine. Most walked on two legs, but some rolled on wheels, or slid up and down the sides of buildings on tracks. The city was a glittering, modern metropolis where humans lived in luxury, all thanks to the tireless work of robots. Roz was marching when the sunlight faded and the city lights brightened. She was marching when the humans went in for the night and the robots continued to work. She was marching when the sun came up and the humans filtered out of their buildings. A new day began in the city, and there was Roz marching north, blending in, anxiously hoping her son would appear. Chapter 71 is called The Observation. It's a very short chapter. Sunlight sparkled off the skyline. New buildings were constructed. Old buildings were taken down. Cargo ships docked in the harbor. Delivery trucks unloaded crates. Bright signs flickered with advertisements. Robots worked behind the scenes. Children played in the parks. Adults ate and drank at outdoor cafes. The city pulsed with energy. A wild robot observed it all. Chapter 72 is called The Police. A pair of police robots stood on the sidewalk while foot traffic glided past them. Their heads swiveled back and forth as they scanned the crowds with their glowing eyes. The police looked menacing, but they sounded friendly. Whenever a human walked by, they'd say, "Have a nice day," in a perky voice. There were a lot of humans walking by, so the police kept repeating their words. "Have a nice day, have a nice day, have a nice day." Our robot, she was not having a nice day. She was alone in the city. She was worried about her son, and she wanted nothing to do with the police, but she couldn't avoid them. If she turned suddenly, she might draw their attention, so she kept her eyes forward and calmly marched along with the other robots on the street. Roz may have looked calm on the outside, but on the inside her thoughts were scrambled. Were the police dangerous? Did they work with the Ricos? Was she about to be caught? It seemed as if the police were watching Roz. Their eyes lingered on her for a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then they continued scanning the crowd. Our robot felt something like relief when she made it past without incident. She went on her way, just another robot on the street, and those perky voices gradually faded behind her. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Have a nice day.